lifting up your soul, so you're welcome, son. I spit rhymes for 2111, lifting up your soul, so you're not strong.
Welcome, everybody. It's Eric Taylor, BigEAstrology. This is episode 210 of my Knowledge is Love Astrology Podcast. And tonight, it's been coming. A legend, Astro-numerologist, author. I mean, legendary radio and personality on so many interviews. Montell Williams, Oprah Winfrey, Katie Couric, and for us New Yorkers, Tony Brown's Journal. He's a teacher and so much more. He even has his own app. I welcome to you guys, Mr. Lloyd Strayhorn. How are you this evening, my friend?
You know, Lloyd would have done just fine, Eric. Okay.
Oh, please. Listen. You know,
that would have did just fine, and I would have been cool with that. Okay?
No. I got to pull out the red carpet, man. First of all, I want to say thank you for the work that you do for the collective. I think it's so important, and we've spoken about this before, but it's really amazing. And, you know, this ancient wisdom, the mystery schools, the way that it's been coming back up and around, and, you know, in a big way the last few years.
Yeah.
But you know, you've been such a trailblazer in it. And it's just, it just warms my heart, because I know we're both similar, you know, energies in terms of wanting to be of service to the collective. Yeah. And I know for you as an Aquarius, you just do it all the time.
Yeah.
So tell me, Lloyd, I want to go back. Like, who was Lloyd at 10 years old? And could you have ever imagined being an astro-numerologist?
You know, Eric, that is so amazing. At around about 10 or 11, I spent a little time with my grandmother in North Carolina, and I learned quite a lot. Wow. But in school here in New York City, I was the worst math student. So if somebody says, Lloyd, you would make a career doing numerology, I'd have said, yeah, right. And in fact, when I, you know, because my folks were from North Carolina, they had very limited education. So their goal naturally is to send all their children to school, which I did. And so when I got out of school, I told my father I wanted to be a numerologist. And he thought it was a neurologist. And, you know, in the Black family, we got the first Black doctor in the family, you know, applause. And then about a week or two later, he said, what was that again? I was a numerologist. And he and to his credit, as dads would do, well, how do you make a living with it? How do you feed your family?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at that time coming up, there were trade schools and whatnot, refrigerators, repair shops, air conditioners. Yeah. It was like, you know, it was a lot of trade. Those things have also disappeared. But I had no idea, but I just knew I was passionate. Part of it, Eric, was because I was very shy in junior high school.
Okay.
And shy talking to the girls.
All right.
And so then I got this thing came across astrology. So I figured, let me read about everything on Aquarius and how great they were to add and build up my confidence. But along this journey, I found out that everybody is in search of who they are and what makes them outstanding. So I got into it, and little and behold, that somebody said, Lloyd, you would do this for decades, you would write books, you would be on every TV show imaginable, you would have a successful radio show for 20 years, I'd have said, yeah, right. You know?
Oh, man. And listen, I told my cousin you were coming on, and she was like, what? I love Lloyd. You know, New Yorkers know, you know, so like that's really, really fascinating. So, but how did you, like, was it books? Was it a teacher? Like, how did you really jump into this?
Well, I'm primarily self-taught.
Okay.
And at the time in Harlem coming up, the astrologers and persons like myself couldn't walk around with the astrology books open. We had to actually wrap them up in a brown cover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, because at that time, during that time, the 60s, 70s, it was about going to church every Sunday.
Okay.
And we wasn't having none of that devil worship up in here. Okay. I even have an aunt that she does like that when she sees me, like, dun, 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 dun.
Oh
I
my
told her,
God.
Auntie, it ain't that serious. It's not that serious. You'll be fine.
And
But
well, go ahead. No, go ahead. Because when you
no,
said the devil worship, it made me
and
laugh.
so,
I thought of something.
but what happens is a couple of things. First of all, I was born in New York City, where there are 8 million people on the island of 24 miles long.
Yeah.
Not only that, but because of my dad being self-taught and loved to read, I adapted that habit too. At that time, there was Mason's Bookstore on Lexington Avenue. Then there was Weiser's Bookstore, and I would find out about these books, and I would just go. And I would go so often, they would actually go into the back of the stores and pull out books that wasn't available to the common people that would come there every day. So they just knew when they saw me. So when I
Wow.
went to write my first book, I wrote my book, I put my manuscript together, and I presented my book to Zoltan Mason, who at that time was one of the most preeminent astrologers in the country, born on January the 18th of 1906.
Wow.
He gave me the green light, and I published my book. That was my first book. That was in 1980. And then I went on to write 5 other books after that, and
That's
teach
incredible.
courses around the world. And then I'm nosy. You know, we Aquarians. I'm always in people's business. It's like, what? You know, it was great for me.
That's so amazing and so brilliant. And hello to everybody in the chat. We will get to you, and Lloyd will share some of his numerology gifts. So I want to know, because I've been exploring your website, and like a true Virgo that I am, I do my research. So explain to the audience, because people might not know, right? I know life path, the expression, like the soul urge and the destiny number.
Yeah.
But what are the, because on your site you mentioned the 7 core numbers. So what are the 7 core numbers, and how do they apply to a client and our personal lives?
Well, to give you, just to keep it simple, the way I when I talk to clients, I tell them that your birthday tells me why you're here, but it is your name that tells me what you know. And that's what intrigued me.
Wow.
See, because my original background was in astrology. Okay. As I said, studying all the Aquarians, all the good ones, the not so good ones, this, that, and the other. And then I got into numerology. And then what it did for me was this. You and I know that as astrologers, we need to know exactly what time you were born. So I would erect a chart using my ephemeris and all that stuff. It wasn't like nowadays, you just Google it. We had to go the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, the ephemeris.
Instead of born at 7:53 p.m., I bring the chart to them, and lo and behold, they found their certificate, and they were born at 7:53 a.m. Now, and I know,
oh my gosh,
there's a 12-hour difference, and it threw the whole thing off. But with numerology, I didn't need, if a person didn't have their time, it was okay. I still had the month, the day, and the year, because the total of your month, your day, and your year is referred to as your destiny number, your life path number, your birth path number. But it dawned on me that, like, if I'm talking to a colleague like yourself and others in our field, they would understand that. So let's say a person's month, day, and year adds up to a number 7. I don't say your destiny, life path, or birth path. I used to do that, but I would say the month, the day, and the year you're born symbolically says you're in the 7th grade in the school of life. Now, people can wrap their head around that concept because we all going to school. And we know whatever grade we're in, we got to learn that lesson. We want to go to the next grade, okay? So, and that's how I put it. And then the name tells you what you know, because your name tells you your natural talents, gifts, skills, and abilities. So one of the cores is the month, the day, and the year you're born. But it is the day you're born that's even more important. The month, day, and year represents the long range, but it is your date of birth that tells me more the immediate. And it took me a while to work this out. And being primarily self-taught and born in New York City, where all the skeptics, everybody came from Missouri, man, the show me state. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and I mean, I would almost be crying, but they were good for me. They really taught me. So where a lot of people are strong in theory, I'm strong in application, because that's, so what? Yeah, I'm 5. So what that mean? You know, New York is up.
New York is like, yo. So tell me, what's that mean about me? Am I gonna hit by a bus tomorrow? What's that help you on the 2 train?
Yeah, and so as a result, I had to be on point. I couldn't say, well, back in the day, it was an ancient African science. It's not that they don't want to hear, but they don't want to hear that. So what is that going to do for me?
Right.
And so I've learned how to adapt a more practical application to what I do, where it makes sense to a person. And I put it in a way where, whether they want to believe it or not, the common sense of it is what it is. 2 + 2 is 4. Now, y'all can get upset with me all day long, but when we finally get calmed down and jump off the table and chill out, 2 + 2 is still going to be 4.
That's so perfect. And so, you hear different rumors about numbers, right? And
Yeah.
I've heard some controversy, right, about, and it happens to be my life path number 9. So
Mine too.
what's the mystery and the story behind the 9? Because the basic quote unquote is the humanitarian and all these different things. But how do you define or explain the 9? Like how would that play out for Eric Taylor, the 9?
Well, 9, if that's the month and day, it means symbolically you and I, my friend, are in the 9th grade in the school of life. So
Okay.
from sunrise to sunset, our journey is the 9th path. Okay. 9 is humanitarian, 9 is global, 9 is universal, 9 is inspirational. They bring out the best in people, but 9s like to be the master of their fate. They like to be the captain of their ship. They don't take orders well. Along this journey, they will attract those under the signs of Aries, which is my dad, under the signs of Scorpio, which is my brother, under the sign of Leo, which is my sister, or anybody born on the 9th, 18th, or 27th of the month.
Wow.
And so that means we are those of us in the 9th grade, when you do your month, day, and year, where they talk about finding your niche. Well, you and I appeal to the whole universe.
Yeah.
We don't care what part of the planet they come from, what gender they are, how much money they make. If you're born on some month, some day, some year, we got your stars and we got your numbers. It's just that simple. So
See,
that's one of the beauties of it.
That's perfect because that's been like my life story. Growing up in New York City, friends, all ethnicities, cultures,
Yep,
same thing in
exactly.
college, down in Maryland,
Yeah.
now in Arizona, same thing. But also, is it true, almost like Pisces, does 9 hold the energy and frequency of all the previous numbers before it?
Well, yes. In fact, under the Chaldean system, 9 was held with such in high regards and such sacredness that the 9 wasn't used in any of the alphabets from A to Z. You would only go up to 8. But if it added to a 9, then you would take it in that spirit for which it is. 9 has one of those things. If you add 9 to 5, 9 plus 5 is 14, and 1 plus 4 is 5. And if you also subtract from 9, the root number is still the same. So 9 has one of those interesting paradoxical things, and everything is 9. A circle is 360 degrees, which is 9. You and I know as astrologers, everything is in degrees of 3, 6, or 9, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 45 degrees, 80 degrees, 180. You know what I'm saying? And
Nikola Tesla, 369. Yeah.
yeah. And he said, those who understand the 3, 6, and 9 understand the universe. In fact, the casino is based upon the principle of the 3, 6, and 9.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just amazing. So I've learned in my experience how to categorize numbers. The numbers 1 and 4 rule the sun numbers.
Okay.
The number 1 rules the summer side of the sun. The number 4 rules the winter side of the sun. The number 2 and 7 are the moon numbers. The number 2 rules the full moon. The number 7 rules the new moon. And then there's the artistic chord, which is the 3, the 6, and the 9. So once I teach my students that, they seem to just begin to just adapt very easily, because we are ruled by the sun by day, the moon by night, and naturally the revolving of the planets around the stars.
That's beautiful.
People don't understand. Earth. Listen, they talk about we're going out of space. Well, we're already in space.
That's right.
We're already in space, really, and there are millions of planets, as what Carl Sagan used to say, billions and billions of stars. He used to run that. I say, wow, it's a whole lot of stars up in there.
So when you say that, right? So for example, like, is a life path 3 good with a life path 9? Because of
yes,
that 3, 6,
because don't forget, it's a part of the artistic chord, the 3, 6, and 9.
Wow.
So the point is, there becomes that question: what numbers are good? Every number from 1 to 9, including master numbers 11, 22, 33, all these numbers have their good side and their not so good side.
Right.
So a person will say to me, well, Lloyd, how do you know when a number's bad? Simple. From their actions. If that individual's caused a lot of mayhem and drama and mischief and interfering and blocking people's blessings, obviously they're not living on the best side of their number.
Right.
So, and that goes across the board. In fact, there's going to be a researcher, a colleague, and I are going to take about some of the more dramatic side of numbers, people who committed crimes, who had occults like Jim Jones and stuff. What were the numbers influencing them? It's going to be a whole new avenue that's going to be explored using numbers, because people say, well, Lloyd, you're always so positive, always so positive. But I do that for a reason, because in our communities, we're always taught about what we're not.
Amen.
We always knock each other.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is, when you talk to me, you're going to get the best from me.
You're going to get the love. You're going to get lifted up. Exactly.
Now, I'm not going to BS you. If you're not a genius, I ain't going to tell you ain't a genius.
That's right. That's right.
That part of you, I see in you, the gold I see in you, the beauty I see in you, I'm going to let you know. And you'd be surprised that people have never been told that, you're great. You could be a genius. You have the ability to do this, to inspire each other, not to knock each other. We're very, very good at it. But that is the programming since we've been here for hundreds of years, just to be programmed to knock each other, block our blessings. Oh, you ain't this and you ain't that. And then we want to know why we're, after all these hundreds of years, still in the same condition. Yeah. I'm not down with none of that, Eric.
Nope. You're right. And, and you said it, and it's so true, because when I meet with my clients, it, like you said, I give it to them real. Yep. But I also let them know you are gifted. You got to trust your intuition. You are talented. You are amazing. It's fascinating to see how many humans on this planet still exist in a lack of self-love and such tremendous self-doubt. So I think it's beautiful how you said that. So I do want you to take a couple questions in the chat, and then I want to get back and learn about your course and your app. So why don't we start with Evelyn? Because I know Evelyn was here. She was
November 25th. I think I saw her birthday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's how I would explain to her. She knows that she is a Sagittarius. And you know what's interesting? Probably like myself, and before we get into Evelyn, there are certain religious groups that have a problem with what you and I do. And then you have the Gnostics that say, I don't believe in astrology. But if you say, well, what's your birthday? What's your zodiac sign? They'll say Capricorn or whatever. So for somebody who don't believe in it, they know their sign. So I thought that's
and it's in the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran. Astrology.
Well, in the Bible, all I got to do is go to the Old Testament, the fourth book of Moses, called the Book of Numbers.
Yeah,
I didn't write that. And when I tell people the Bible is a numerology book, they really get upset. But you can't. If I say Psalms 23 verses 10 through 12, all by numbers, you know how to go there. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's in the Old Testament, in the middle of the book, which is Psalms, or in the end of Revelation, we're all numbers. But anyway, talking to Evelyn, so we don't leave her out. He is a Sagittarian 7, because see, a lot of people know their sign, but until I talk to them, they are a sign and a number. That's why all Sagittarians aren't the same. All Leos aren't assertive. Exactly. All Cancers aren't Pisces. Passive, because the date of birth modifies or tweaks that particular sign. So she is a Sagittarius 7 person. And so I would describe her by element as a fire sign with a water number. 5 means she's very passionate, very proactive, got a lot of get up and go, but at the same time, she's deeply intuitive, very psychic and intuitive about the way she does things. And it also tells me, and 7, the nature of a 7 is always to go down the rabbit hole, because she's born on the 25th, 2 plus 5 is 7, for those that want to know how I got that number. So she's both passion, and yet she's very sensitive. She's very forceful, and yet very intuitive. So it would take a very special person, and she never runs out of questions. It is not because she's a woman. The nature of a 7 is always to go down the rabbit hole. So if a guy says, Evelyn, I'm in love with you, and the girlfriend said, girl, you hear what Lloyd said, so-and-so? Well, she want to know, well, Stray, why you loving me today? Okay? Is it because of my hair? Is it because of I got that lottery last week? I got that brand new car. She
And
was
Lloyd Evelyn's amazing. Let me tell you, she's something else. She is
yeah,
amazing. You
that's
described
it.
it well.
The nature of a 7 is always to go deep, always to go down the rabbit hole. Okay. And so I think for this reason, so every number from 1 to 9 brings to it its own skill sets. It all depends on what sign you're in. Each number has a natural home around the zodiac wheel where it belongs, but most times it's not. But when you do, it's something else. But this is intriguing. So it tells me in Evelyn's case, her numbers are the 7, 2, and 3. It indicates her best days are always on a Monday and a Thursday, and all dates such as the 2nd, the 3rd, the 7th, the 11th, the 12th, the 16th, the 21st, the 20th, 21st, 25th, 29th, and 30th of the month. And speaking of the months, her best months are normally around March and May, July, especially October and December. So if you were to ask Evelyn about the possibilities of her mom or dad, they were probably born in one of those months or one of those dates. If she's married, she married in one of those months. If she had kids, she may have got conceived them in one of those months, birthed them in one of those months. These are what I call the angel numbers. You know how they say, "Oh, I got my angel numbers." Well, her angel numbers are the 7, 2, and 3, and her angelic days are always on a Monday first, followed by a Thursday, and then a minor way of Friday. Then she have her angelic dates. She has her angelic months. It's about being in the right place at the right time, in harmony with the universe, Eric.
And
That's always my goal.
that's amazing. And that makes so much sense just in the one attribute that I think of, right? Because Thursday is the day of Jupiter and she's a Sagittarius, right?
And that rules Jupiter. That's why
Yeah.
that day is selected. That's Jupiter.
Yeah. So that's
Exactly right.
like, wow, that's beautiful. And I don't think that people really get like how you can, interweave and connect the astrology with the numerology. It's just like it takes it to another level.
Yeah, but see,
Plus
the beauty of this, my best numerology students have always had a background in one field, astrology. Because when you know the nature of the planet, you know the nature of the sign, and you know the nature of the number. So if a
right,
person talks about the planet Mars, you and I know they're talking about Aries or Scorpio
right.
originally, not Pluto, the
Yeah,
reassignment, but Scorpio.
yeah.
Then we
Traditional
also know
planets, yeah. You look at the
numerologists that they're
traditional.
talking about the number 9. That's why it says our 9 destiny would attract Aries and Scorpios and a minor way Leos to us. So people born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month. This stuff is fascinating.
Oh yeah. No, I love it. So let's take maybe you want to take another question and then I want to
I'll
hear
take
about
as
your
many
app.
as you want.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm your guest. I
Yeah,
love this.
no,
I
let's
love this.
see who's out there.
Evelyn said her father was born in October and her mom was in May. And I
Yeah.
says her months would be March, May, July, October, and December.
Wow.
Thanks, Evelyn.
That gave me chills. Yeah, that's deep. Her mother was a Taurus. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, people think I'm amazing. No, numbers are amazing. I
Yes.
just been blessed to study at such a level and such a length of time and such depth that people think I know them. No, I'm able to tell if a person gives me their house address, I can almost describe their house, where it's located, or the nature of the house, or its challenges, stuff like that. All of this took decades to learn.
Right. That's fascinating. You just hit on something because I like to work with the numbers in terms of the home and stuff like that. So let's just say your home is a 3 energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have heard, and let me know if you think if this is real or true to you, that you can put a number up on your door to change the energy. That like whatever number you would put up would add to the address of your house, right? And then you
Yes,
can, okay, so that is true.
that is true up to a point.
Okay, tell me.
One time in decades ago in California, there was this group that was into numerology, right? So they would literally change their house numbers. Well, that drove the post office crazy.
Right,
So what happens is that what you do now, apartment buildings, you cannot do it.
right.
A house you can. So let's say your house, so you're born on the 10th, all right, which is the number 1.
Yeah.
All right, that's the number 1. And so your house is 360, which is a 9. And you want it ideally as a 10. Well, I would tell you to go to Home Depots or Lowe's or whatever area is in your community like that, and get the letter A, and it'll be 360A, because A represents the value of a 1.
Okay.
And therefore, it would bring it in alignment with your energies. Because if you try to change it, the post office, because there's a certain way.
No, and I know you can't trick up the post office, but could you just could you actually put, write a number out on a piece of paper and put it on your door, on the inside of the door of your home? Would that change the vibration or frequency?
I think that's a brilliant question. However, because it makes sense to me, if you can put it on the outside, sure, you can put it on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay, the number would change the frequency.
Yeah.
But what happens is I would tell the person, so therefore, when you're getting your mail, you're getting your check, you make sure you add 360A, XYZ lane, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Yeah, no, I really like that. So tell us about this app, man, because that's where everyone's headed. I'm like, oh, Lloyd's got to tell me how to do that. I want an app.
Yeah, I have a phone app. It's called a star 8. Think of a star in the heavens with the number 8 attached to it, which is 8, as you know, is infinity.
Yes.
It's ASTAR, the number 8. ASTAR, the number 8. They can either get it on the Play Store or for Android users. They can get it on the Apple for iPhone users, or they can go directly to my website, astar8.com, and download it from there. You have a choice of either going through Android or whatever.
And all you guys go out and get that today. My wife already downloaded your app, man. She was like, this is fascinating.
Well, what's your wife's birthday?
Okay, so she is February.
I just need the month and day. I don't have to have the year. That's the beauty of what I got into numerology too.
Okay, so she's February 26th.
Okay, she is an 8. Of course, and if you say how, she's born on the 26th, and 2 plus 6 equals 8.
Exactly.
And so what happens is that she is she's a Pisces, but now she's a Pisces 8. Yeah. So her numbers will be the 8, the 3, and the 6. Okay. Now I think you'll have 4 boys. Now, see, your numbers are the 1, 4, and 5. If you were to write down your numbers, write down your wife's numbers, y'all got a totally different set of numbers. And I can tell you of your 4 sons, which one will favor you and which one will favor her. So, for example, no, let me tell you. Wait,
I got a Virgo, a Gemini, and 2 Leo twins.
Really? Well, see, your months are always in the months of February, April, June, August, and September. Her months are in the months of January, March, May, October, and December. So all the children that are born around that period of February, April, August, February, April, June, August, or September will probably have some of your characteristics. Yeah. And those of your boys that are born out of the months of January or March or May or October or December may exhibit some of the mother's characteristics, or they could have a blend. They could have a blend of, born in your month, but on your wife's birthday. So, for example, you could have one of your children born June the 8th. So, yes, they got the 5 and the 6 from you, but the 8 is coming from their mom, I mean, it's just fascinating stuff. And I can tell who looks like who.
And that's so funny because, here's an example, right? I told my wife, we had the twins. They are August 14th. And because we both, have chocolate dads, and my mother was a mutt and mixed, but her mother's Caucasian. And I told her when she was pregnant, I said, we're going to have one brown baby and one, lighter skinned baby. And that's exactly what happened. The first twin came out, he was real, real light. And the second one came out, he was darker than me. I was like, there we go.
But see, that's the beauty of it. But when you told me, see, because your months again are February, April, June, August, and September. Your numbers born on the 10th of September are the 1, 4, and 5. Well, guess what? Your sons happen to be born in August on the 14th. Their numbers are the 5, 1, and 4. Now, in my book, Numbers in You, I got everybody's birthday. So to me, those twins will more favor you. Yeah. Nothing from their mother, but you and your mother get mad at the boy. She says, you're just like your father. You know what I'm saying?
So I should apologize to her when they drive her crazy. Basically.
Exactly.
Oh my God. So tell everybody about your school and learn from Lloyd, because I know that my audience, I mean, listen, they
Well,
are into some stuff.
I have an online series called the Learn from Lloyd series. Learn from Lloyd how to read a person like a book. Learn from Lloyd the next step in numerology. Learn from Lloyd the do's and don'ts of numerology. Those
Oh,
3 courses are on Udemy, which you get a discount when you go to my website to sign on. And I now have over 7,000 students in about 104 countries, translated into 30 languages, which tells me how universal this is. And as a result, in July, I'm going to actually do, for the first time ever, a certification courses teaching people how to do this as a living. See, when I was interested in this, there were no teachers. So my teachers became my books. That's why I got a ton of books on the subject. If you,
wow.
I can almost tell you who wrote it, what they said in it, this, that, and the other. I mean, this is how I learned. And fortunately, my dad was a barber. He had very little education, but in between haircuts, he would always be sitting in his barber chair reading books.
Yeah.
And it rubbed off on me, except I was reading metaphysical books, you see. So in July, I'm going to teach people if they want to know how to, and let me tell you,
Yeah.
you will never go out of business with this. Because when I worked at the radio station for 20 years and they terminated everybody, everybody was trying to scramble to get on the other radio shows. Some were successful, most of them were not. I had no problems because what I did, people was always consulting me about readings or sessions or lectures or something like that. So it's just another asset that they can put under their belt. So it's so all they got to do is go to a star8llc@gmail.com, leave their interest, and my assistant will send them a process. Now, I'm going to have very few students. I mean, 100 can apply, but 100 won't be accepted.
Right.
I just want to focus. You know, the smaller the class, the better you can teach the students.
Exactly.
As again, 50 kids in the class versus 12 or 14 in a class. You can give more individual attention.
Yeah.
So, but I want to make sure they're the best of the best because I'm one of the best on the planet to do this.
I know that's right. And just wait, when you describe that, see that, you guys, and I always like to share with my audience, right? That's your Scorpio moon in the 3rd house. Like, that's beautiful. Like, you know, the way that it's like transforming lives in your local community, but also what's the 3rd house, that Gemini energy, the writing, the books.
Yeah.
And books on occult knowledge. So it's so literal. Like
that. Somebody said, Lloyd, you write a book. I said, yeah, I'll write to that too. And I wound up writing 6 books.
Wow.
And next, my goal for 2025 is to write a 7th one, but it's going to be totally different, looking at numbers, but in a more kind of like a challenging or macabre way. But I'm working on the title, my assistant and I, but it's going to be a great book of showing that these numbers, yes, there's a good side, but I'm going to show, since everybody claims all I say is good side, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to let y'all know some of the bad side of numbers too. And since y'all all that concerned about that, okay?
They can't put you in a box.
Not really.
Oh my God. I love that. So, okay, right. So now I got to ask you, right? I know we're in a universal 8 year.
Yes.
And, you know, let's be honest, right? We're having these solar flares. The world's been a little kind of crazy since, some would say 2020. I would say, you know, started 2012. But energetically, I know we're sort of, you know, really, you know, obviously changing from the Piscean age to the age of Aquarius. And that's a painful transition. But as people are spiritually awakening, and you know more, I mean, what we do is now becoming a $1 billion industry. Yeah. Right. People are awakening. And now for the next 20 years with Pluto and Aquarius, it's only going to increase. But give the audience some nuggets, because, you know, 2024 has been kind of a rough year. And yes, it's the year of truth, and we won't get into all the celebrity slander and all that foolishness. But where do you think the rest of 2024 is going, especially when I think about, you know, September 1st and November 19th, Pluto at 29 degrees in Capricorn for election day in America. That's a little heavy. So what do you expect?
2024 in numerology is called the universal year. The word universal means no matter who you are on this planet, male, female, this persuasion, this ethnicity, this financial status, whatever, we are all experiencing the influence of an 8 universal year. This governs nations too. Well, one of the major opposition numbers to the United States is the number 8, as next year, the number 9, because this is a Saturn-Mars opposition to this country. Now, what's interesting, when I visited China, their lucky numbers are the 8 and 6, which are the main opposition numbers to the United States. So then I can easily understand the conflict between China and the United States, and yet they still have to deal with each other.
Right.
But since it's an 8 universal year, 8 represents maturity, coming of age, reconnecting with your past. And that reconnection comes by ways of funerals, christenings, baby showers, family reunions, things of that nature. It is a cycle of births, marriages, pregnancies, separations, and divorce. It is a cycle that makes you grow up. It is a cycle that makes you look at things through a different set of lens and begin to question really the role you've been playing on life stage and all the characters in your life, the relatives, the mates, the children, whatever the case is. These are all the characters like in a movie. You know what I'm saying?
And isn't it instant karma this year? And I know it's a big year for money, but it's instant karma too, right?
It governs the 8th house. You're absolutely right. That's why it says normally bringing things back through transitions and things of that nature. And it's no accident that all of the Black historians are Capricorns. Dr. Diop, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Ben Yekinen, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, they're all Capricorn.
I love Ivan Van Sertima, man. He was brilliant.
I did a lecture with him in Dallas, Texas. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and he autographed my book. So that's one of my buddies. So, it's just amazing. But this is a year for everybody to grow up. This is a year where people have to watch their pocketbook because 8 rules finances.
Yes.
So for those who are caught up, so my goal, my objective when I talked about it is needs versus wants. You might want a new car, but you need to make sure your rent and your mortgage is taken care of. Amen. You might need that $5,000 Gucci bag, but you really need to get some food up in the cupboard. Okay.
No, and and
the priority.
And you're right. It's all about priorities, and we have to understand that this is a time of such transition, right? Where they're trying to get rid of the dollar, get us all on the digital currencies. And so we have to be mindful. And I tell my audience and my clients as well, try diversifying your money. Don't put everything in one thing, because if one thing crashes, you want to have money, you want to have some under the pillow, some under the mattress, some in the regular bank, some in the community bank, a little bit in crypto, maybe some gold, silver, just diversify.
But you're absolutely right. The well-to-do who know got their money in everything. Paper money, dollars, metals, precious metals, cryptocurrencies, stock, real estate. Yes. They have money coming from multiple sources. So there is now this concern about the de-dollarization of the dollar bill. There's the formation of BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa. Yeah. And not only that, but now about 10 more nations have joined BRICS.
All the nations are joining, exactly.
Big meeting in October 22nd in Russia. And so the United States that's been used to using the power of sanction. So, for example, here, because of Ukraine and Russia, they're thinking about all the monies that the United States think about the money that they have on Russia is to take their money and actually spend it and give it toward Ukraine to fight the war. But that is Russia's money. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So then I can understand why there would be the formation of BRICS, that why people are going to have to watch their dollars and things like that. So there's a lot of things that's going on. So I told people to be frugal, to use common sense, and that although we all want something, but there are things that we need to deal with first and foremost. And if people can take that attitude, but for those that's like, for example, back in the day, you could buy a car would normally take 3 years to pay off the notes. Now a car takes 6 and 7 years to pay off the notes.
Yeah.
And the dollar is not the value of the dollar as it was 20, 30 years ago.
That's very true.
So there's a lot of things. And then this country is about $34 trillion in debt, consumer debt. So
listen. It's all funny money, Lloyd. That's funny money.
Yeah,
but
but
today,
but the masses though are going to be the ones that are feeling the repercussions of it.
No, I know.
And so that's why I'm just saying that this year and next year is not the best for this nation. Not that I don't want it to be,
right? But
you and I know how the interactions of the stars in the heavens do. And then
listen, it's powerful
until 2044 too.
And the fact that you mentioned Saturn, I tell people all the time, please respect Saturn. Don't play.
You got to. You have no choice. And this is a Saturn year, my friend. So you understand. See, that's the beauty when I talk to a colleague like of your caliber that understand what I'm talking about, because you can look at the numbers or look at the planets, and you and I know it's not good for this country or that country. India, 8 is good. China, 8 is good. The United States, no good. France, no good. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
And it's not even good for California because we're in a dragon year.
yes, that's right.
So that's a whole other, that's a whole other. So I want to ask you, because this is a big question when you talked about money. And I have 2 friends and also, clients and supporters to the show that are born today, right? So May 28th. And one of the questions is, when you talk about, like the young folks like to say, get in the bag, right? is 8 a better number, or is 28, right? Because I know that Warren Buffett, right, he did the 28, and people know how to like design their businesses and their logo, you know what I mean?
Well, see, to me, the 28 under the original definition of its compound numbers taken from the tarot, the 28 is called the number of contradiction. It is called the divorce number. Okay. Now, here's what I mean. When I say divorce number, people think it's always about husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend. No, it's divorce from you and your money. Okay. So, for example, the three warnings comes from with a 28. You're very honest with people, but people aren't always honest with you. So if you're dealing in a 28 circumstances, you got to make sure that yes, you're honest, but are they returning the honesty in equal measure? Okay. Then the second warning is whoever you're seeking advice from, they need to be the most expert of persons in that. Now, you and I are experts in our respective fields. Okay. But if they go get a reading and they're fixing TV sets all day, we know that's not their forte, because this is all we do. Okay. That's it. And the third one is you should never let people push a document under your nose and say, sign right here. When I worked for an insurance company back in the day, it was the large words added and the small words take it away. What does the lawyer say? What you got to do? You got to read the fine print. It's who you put your trust in, how you seek advice, and how you put your name on the dotted line. But as I jokingly said, we all sign 28 when it comes to documents. So, for example, I want to download a software. They got a zillion descriptions, pages long. I'm going to just say, because I want the software. And not saying that, we're going to say your mother, we're going to say your father, we're going to take all your money.
Your image to China.
And just say,
Oh my God. But May 28th for the people born today.
For May 28th, their numbers are the 1, 4, and 5. Your numbers are the 1, 4, and 5. The common glue between you two is that Mercury rules Gemini and Mercury rules Virgo. So for people born today, they would be a Gemini 1 person. They would be an air sign with a fire number, where you, my friend, are an earth sign with a fire number. So air and fire blends with each other. They stimulate each other. So 28 as 2 plus 8 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. So Gemini 1 persons, which are people born today, are your leaders. They are your directors. Number ones, whether it's the 1st, the 10th, the 19th, or the 28th, just don't take orders well. In fact, Barry Gordy was born on the 28th that founded Motown. So it shows you all the numbers aren't that bad.
They like to trailblaze and be bosses and owners.
Because that's what they are, the pioneers. It is governed by the planet of the sun, which governs the sign of Leo, which are your pioneers. They go where no person has gone before. They're the first to do this, they're first to do that. They're your entrepreneurs, your managers, supervisors, directors, career-wise. number ones normally go into law, medicine, or science. So you yourself may have thought about that as a kid before you went to the world of metaphysics. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But normally they have an entrepreneurial spirit. They're normally very independent. They do not like to be told what to do. It does not fit with their chemistry. They
In
are bad.
another life, I would have been a lawyer because I would have been good in the courtroom. But I was a professional actor, did television, film, and theater for years in New York, and then I got into sports radio.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was my path.
So it all depends on a lot of other factors. So when I do talk about numbers, I have to remind them, what kind of environment did you come out of? Did you come out of a loving environment, a supportive environment, educational environment, or
my mom
you
was
will
a teacher?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I taught
Those
for 13
kind of
years as well. So I taught for 13 years.
Yeah. So see, your background is varied, but then again, it's ruled by the planet Mercury, which is the planet of diversity, communications, import, export, the stock exchange, the literary field, things of that nature. And a lot of Virgos make excellent writers, like Richard Wright and other people of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So writing books would be very good for you too. So in fact, you should write
my first book I just finished. Now I'm editing.
See, I want to be one of the first to buy it. I want to be one of the first to buy it.
That means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. So let's take some more questions because people they want to ask you about some of their numbers.
Yeah, well, sure. That's what I'm here for.
You can just pick anybody you see that's really, got a good question for you.
I don't have anybody. I should have been a civil rights attorney, Jennifer Sweets. Well, I know the name Jennifer adds to 32, which tells me one of her parents is either Gemini or Virgo, are born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of the month. It also tells me she works very well under pressure. She's multifaceted, multi-talented, doesn't look her age, so she's always going to attract younger relationships to her. So I
think Jennifer's a Taurus, if I remember correctly, and she's a loyal, fan to the podcast, and she's definitely an attractive woman. So
yeah, because the name Jennifer, first of all, she's got all those fives in it, which is the number of sex attraction. Like, see, 5 in numerology is the sex number, like Scorpio in astrology is the sex sign.
Right.
Okay, so when you put that together, that would kind of explain it.
Wait, stop right there for a second. Because when you say that, right, I always tell my clients this though, because this is interesting to me. I have found in just my research, my study, my single years when I was dating before I got married to my beautiful Pisces. Understood. I will tell you, I find Gemini and Leo more sexual than Scorpio. Scorpio is soul merging, deep intimacy and truth. You know what I mean? But just pure like sexual energy, I find it to be stronger with Gemini and Leo. What do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting because all Scorpios aren't sexy, because when I says, well, what about Bill Gates? He don't appear to be sexy to me. Very wealthy, yes. Okay, I will agree with that. But he don't give me no impression of being a sexy guy. I'm versatile. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Oh my God, I love that.
So it could be in the name. See, there's so many other things. I'm seeing Urban Truth Seeker, 82. They're born May 14th. Now it's interesting. They're born in the 5th month on the 14th day. People born in the month of May are normally your first to walk. They normally walk before they're 1 year old. So if you were to talk to Urban Truth Seeker, she will tell you probably about 9 months. She was standing up, and by 10 months she was walking. Not all people born in May, but the majority of the people I know that's born in the month of May are your early walkers. They walk before they were 1 year old as a rule. So she's born in the 5th month. She's born on the 14th day. So she is an earth sign. She is a Taurus 5. Now, Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is a very attractive sign to both men and women. Then she's a 5, which is the number of sex attraction. Yeah. And so therefore, I would expect this one to be a very attractive person or easy on the eyes. Okay. And I've also noticed 5s have multiple relationships. She could be married, true and blue. There's always going to be somebody that's going to say, I know you're married, but can I take you out anyway? I know you, and knowing they shouldn't be asking those kind of questions, okay?
Oh, man.
And I tell people, since 5 is ruled by the element of air, the secret of holding on to them is to let them go. Now, what's cute at first? They first start dating. Oh, where you
Yes.
going, honey? How long you gonna be when you coming back? That's cute at first.
Yeah,
But you
but
do that every
you gotta
day,
give them freedom.
every week, every month. You gotta let them breathe. That's why each of these elements and signs are assigned an element of nature, and that would explain it.
I love
So it's very fascinating. By the way, her key numbers are the 5, 6, and 9, and her best days are always on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Tuesdays. And she has 6 months. I see a gaming January the 12th. She is a Capricorn 3. Her numbers are the 3, 8, and 6. That means her best days are Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturday. Actually, it's Thursday, Saturday, and Friday, but you could say Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
right.
It indicates she was out on her own between her 19th and 22nd birthday. She is an organic flirt. I mean, she's not the kind of person that just flirts. She don't even know she's flirting. It's like that is so
Hey,
organic.
wait, that's so funny that you said that, because I find that with the Venus Aquarius women, Lloyd,
Mhm.
I call them accidental flirts.
Yeah, I call them organic. They
They
don't
just
even know
say
they're
stuff,
flirting.
and you're like,
They
what?
don't even know they're flirting. It's just so all natural. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I love that. That is so true.
Yeah,
So,
that's my experience. And I noticed with threes, because you and I know 3 rules Jupiter that has dominion over foreigners, foreign countries, foreign languages.
yeah,
And thus, therefore, if she attracts people from other walks of the human family or
right.
younger or long distance relationships, that would make absolute sense to me as well.
Do you find any particular numbers or number patterns that can really bring, some real serious challenges in someone's life? Not that it's all
Yes.
bad, but
No,
just
no, no. Those numbers will be the 4 to the 8 and the 8 to the 4.
okay. And what is the
Normally, because
reasoning?
4 is ruled by Uranus, 8 is ruled by
Yes.
Saturn. So
Yes.
Uranus is the planet of unpredictability.
Yeah.
Saturn is a planet where it's rock solid, rock steady, very conservative. The rule of thumb, if a 4 and an 8 gets together, the rule is if there any drama, they should distance themselves right away. But there are
Mm.
exceptions to the rule, such as Nick Ashford and Valerie Simpson, the famous writing duo of all the
Oh
Motown
my God.
records. She was born on the 26th, which is an 8, and Nick Ashford was born on the 4th of
I remember I
May.
used to go to their restaurant over there on was it on Amsterdam on Ninth Avenue?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was there too. In fact, I
Yeah.
have a picture taken when we were somewhere. I think they'd opened something down on 57th Street, and you'll see a picture of me with her and them standing together. I've been so blessed to meet so many nice people. But it just shows you as a rule. But as a rule, when a 4 and an 8 gets together, as long as there's no drama, it's okay. As soon as there's drama, the rule is to distance themselves. Another thing about 4s and 8s too, when you talk about that, of all the numbers from 1 to 9, 4s and 8s tend to be medically misdiagnosed more than any other number.
Really?
Yes.
Now, would that apply? Okay, now that you just hit on something. I hate to bring it back to me, but you hit on something. So my life path's a 9.
Yes.
My destiny expression is a 4, and
Mm-hmm.
I was not properly diagnosed with. I got valley fever in 2013, which led me back to astrology because Western medicine completely failed me. It's in the Western Hemisphere of the United States. There's like a fungus that comes from underground. It was very
Mm-hmm.
innocent. A gust of wind came to
Mm-hmm.
come out, but it goes through. But for me, normally they see it in the lungs, but I don't ever do anything easy. So it went to my head and my neck, and I was producing mucus every day as if I had the flu. Now,
Mm-hmm.
would that be maybe something like that because of my
Yes,
expression?
fours, 4 and 8s, wherever found, is always representing something odd and unusual and normally hard to diagnose. The fact that you told me it appeared in 2013 because the major opposition number to the number 4 is the number 6, which was the year you contracted this undiagnosed disease.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So why do
Whew.
you think they talk about Friday the 13th? 1 plus 3 is 4, falling on a Friday, which rules the planet Venus,
Yeah.
which rules the 6. So it's not just Friday the 13th, it's Friday the 4th, Friday the 13th, Friday the 22nd. John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas on November 22nd of 1963 in
Great.
Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was on the 22nd of 4 or Friday the 31st.
And I tell you, his birth chart's fascinating. I've taught that
Yeah,
in my class. When you
yeah,
look at the charts of MLK, JFK, RFK, and Malcolm X, you can see the assassinations in their charts.
yeah. There's
Oh yeah.
very, very interesting how these
Oof.
things work out. Yeah, I
Oh
have to
yeah.
agree with you on that one.
It's deep, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
deep. That's really wild to me. Okay, so when you are doing consultations, do you do like in astrology how we could do like a synastry compatibility chart?
Hmm.
Can a couple come to you and you would align up their numbers like in
Yes.
in depth? Okay,
Hmm. So, for example, if a couple comes to me, I try to find out what is the common glue between the two.
right.
Do they? You may have three sets of numbers. She may have three sets of numbers. I'll find out if you two have a number in common. That tells me that was probably the day you're met or the month you're met, because each number rules a month in the year. So let's say a person
Oh,
was
that's
born
deep.
on the 6th and another person was born on um, the 15th of June, which is a 6 also. So that means they probably went out on their first date on a Friday. They probably either met somewhere around late April, May, late September, October, or or in fact got married on a date like the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th. In the case of you and your missus, you'll have totally different
Well,
set of
well,
numbers.
but wait, you said it wild because her, I think it's the third one. Her soul urge is a 9, and my life path's a 9, and we met September 30th, got married June 30th.
Yeah, but see, 3 is one of her numbers. So
Yeah,
my
three.
whole
Yeah,
thing is
three. Yeah,
this, because she's born the 26th of February, if memory serves me correct. So her
yeah.
numbers are 8, 3, and 6. So therefore, since y'all don't have numbers in common in that sense, yours is the 145,
Yeah.
hers is the 836. I'm going to always go with the woman first. The woman is the glue to build a home, to erect a home. So I would
Yep.
always give her the date. The fact that you got married around late September into October, because her best months are
No, we
always
met it. We met September 30th. We got married the first. We had two weddings, but we got married the first time June 30th. Coming
in
up on
June 30th.
16 years of marriage. Yeah.
Okay. What year did you marry?
2008.
Okay, and that adds up to a 10, which is your year.
Yeah.
So it was her month and number, but it was your year.
Wow.
So see how that goes?
Yeah.
And so, and so you work it. So all numbers are not going to be as compatible, but the compatibility starts right here in the mind. That's why if you look at our parents and our grandparents, our great grandparents were married 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't about looking at what your sign was, about looking at what your number was. None of that. It was about for richer or poor, for sickness and health, for better or worse.
To
That was
death
the
do us
deal.
part.
To death do thank you, brother. To death do you part, damn it. Okay.
Oh my god. Oh,
But
that's great.
nowadays
So,
things have changed.
yeah.
And I don't know what this is to our blessing either.
No, I think, but you know what I would say? I think you're seeing a movement of everyone coming back to nature, back to God, back to the roots, right? And I think
Yeah.
that that's really important because, like, for example, we talk about the medicine, the Western medicine, that's actually really new. What's old is God's medicine, eating the fruit, connecting to the trees, the herbs, the plants, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think you're seeing a movement where people are kind of coming back to that. And that's where we need to be self-reliant in any and every way we can. And food is one of the best ways to be self-reliant. So before we take a couple more questions, I want you to just, we're going to do it at the end as well. But right now, I want you to share your information, the best way for people to book with you, your website, your email, for people to
Okay.
contact you.
Now I have one link that has everything when you go to it. It's called Linktree/numbers and you. And
Okay.
Linktree is spelled linktr.ee/numbers and you. Everything is all spelled out. No shortcuts, none of that.
All right.
NUMBERSANDYOU, numbers and you. Linktree, numbers and you. You can
Okay.
download my phone app. You can download my app for your phone. You can also sign up for my private classes. You can also sign up for my free newsletter. My newsletter is absolutely free.
Yeah.
Okay. They can order my books. I've got 6 books that I've written. 4 of them are now available on Amazon in different colors, so they can get them. You can also book a reading. You can listen to my show. I also have one of my books is now in an audio book file, Numbers in You, and I even have it on a flash drive too.
Can I get it on Audible?
Huh?
Are you
Yes,
on,
you
can
get
I
the
get
book
it
on
on
Audible,
Audible?
Numbers in You. Yes.
Numbers in You. Okay,
Yes,
okay,
my
that's
original
good.
book. That's the Bible
I
of
love
that's
that.
the
I
Bible
love
of my book, you know.
Okay.
And I'm glad to say that, you know, what makes me proud is there was a survey done of the best numerology books of all times in ranking order from 100, from 1 to 100. Well, my orange book was number 8, and my other book was number 30 something. So 2 of
Wow.
my 6 books made that list.
Praise God. I love
Best
that, man.
numerology books. So yeah. So
Listen,
when I
that's
say I'm
that's the
good,
Aquarian way right there. I like
yeah, I'm
that.
not saying on ego, but it took me a really long time to realize that, Lord, you're really good at this, you know. So when I
Well,
say it, not in a boastful, narcissistic, egotistical
no.
manner, but I'm just good at what I
Exactly.
do.
And that's the thing, I think sometimes in life, when you're doing a service and work like this, that's really trying to advance and assist and help guide the collective, it's people may not think of it this way, but what we do is really God's work. And
Yes,
so you don't sit there looking to like praise or pat yourself on the back because you're like in the trenches. And I don't know if this happens to you, but I'm sure you experienced this over the years a lot. Every time I bring up a birth chart, I still get like a little chill, like an excitement. I'm
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah, yeah,
let me see what they're working
yeah,
with. Like, I want to
yeah,
dive in,
yeah, yeah,
because to me, I'm like, when I that's how I feel. Like when a person is finished, when I'm finished with them and they're finished with me, they are going to be better than they were before they ever met me. And
we're on
that's,
the same page, Eric.
yeah.
You
And
and I
that,
are on the same page.
so you got to smell the roses and
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
pat yourself on the
yeah.
back every once in a while because
Yeah, I've
you've
had
earned it
so
and
many
you
nice
deserve it.
compliments of a young lady. I read her. She said when she was young, now she's a lawyer. Her mother told me, I said she would be a lawyer. She said, my daughter just graduated law school. That's a
Oh,
good feeling. That's a
that's
good
amazing.
feeling.
I know
I've
it
even
is.
predicted pregnancies of children. I can also tell whether a woman is going to have a boy or a girl.
Really?
Uh, I've learned a lot. I've learned
Yeah.
so much. I'm trying to figure out how I learned all these things, but I've got tons of books. And
Listen, man, listen, you're gifted. You know what I mean? You're gifted, right? And also, I want to just mention, right? One thing, you guys, about Lloyd is so amazing. You know, he's got the Jupiter in the 12th house, and that right there tells you all that you need to know because he is really the teacher, the sort of like the numerology pastor,
yeah, yeah,
the mentor, the guru, but for the whole collective. When you get in the 12th house, that takes you to all those foreign lands you mentioned. And
yeah.
that's a beautiful energy and a beautiful placement. And it's really like you just dancing in that chart, man. And it's beautiful. So,
But
kudos
that's
to
interesting.
you.
You talked about that foreign because I've been to China, I've been to India, Hawaii, Egypt. It's
Mm.
like and they're all into numbers. In
Oh yeah.
China, their favorite numbers are 8 and 6. If they got those numbers, those are
Well,
lucky
remember for
numbers.
the Olympics, they did the 8 with the
Yes,
Olympics. So yeah,
yes,
that
they
was
did.
huge. Yeah.
They really, really
They're
did.
big in the
And
numerology in
when you
China.
say 4 in China, the word 4 in Chinese sounds like the word death. So if I say 4
Oh,
to a Chinese person, that means death.
wow. So they don't play with that number.
No, they don't. So I can therefore understand in the world of geopolitics why the United States, which is a 4, and China, which is governed by the 8, is oppositional and will always have some challenge, but yet they all need each other. It's how it goes. And this is a perfect example of that 4A conflict that we talked about earlier.
So I know you can't share any, names, because, I know what we do is very private, but have you done one-on-one readings or worked, as an advisory role to any quote unquote politicians, famous people, celebrities?
Most of the politicians I've read here, yes, they will never admit it. No.
Right. Right.
Okay. They will
Yeah,
never
no, I
admit
know,
it
but
because
that's what
that
I wanted to know because I'm curious because I know, a lot of people don't realize like Ronald Reagan, he had an astrologer when he was in the White House to help him schedule meetings with Gorbachev and for Nancy Reagan's breast cancer
yeah, but
surgery.
see, that's what made him different because the United States to this date only had 5 Aquarian presidents. Ronald Wilson Reagan was the 5th president. What made him distinct among the other 4 Aquarian presidents, they all died in office. He got out of office in one piece.
Barely.
The first person to die in office,
Barely.
William Henry Harrison, was born on February the 9th. Then the first Aquarian president to be assassinated, Abraham Lincoln was born on April the 12th. Then there was Garland that was born, I think, the 29th of January. And the last one was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, born on June the 30th. Out of those 4 presidents, 3 of them died in the month of April. Wow. Aquarian presidents, they died in the month of April.
See, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
So now, do you feel that these people, like, entertainers and famous people, a lot of them are more open to the astrology and numerology than the general public would ever imagine?
The old school seemed to be more. For example, in the days of Ronald Reagan and his wife, Nancy Reagan, they were both born on 6s. It was nothing for them to change their name. So if you talked about Archibald Leach, who was he until they changed his name to Cary Grant, who became the Mac Daddy of his day in Hollywood. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So nowadays, a lot of the people that you have, Christopher Latour Wallace is Biggie Smalls. You know what I'm saying? Earl Simmons is DMX.
Yeah.
So people have changed their names a lot. So it's very interesting how it still goes.
Well, so spiritually though, right? Because I know that's different when you're famous, but someone had told me, and I want to know if you agree with this. Someone had told me that if you have a name at birth, that if you change the name, that yes, you could be changing it for the better for numerology reasons, but it's not necessarily something that's always good for your soul or energetically, spiritually. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting when we're born, especially if what ethnic groups like Hispanic groups, they will include their grandparents' name in it, their former names. They'll have about 6 or 7 names in the birth certificate, but then they'll be known as Jose Jimenez at the long and the short of it. That's why I choose the Chaldean system. The Pythagorean system, which is modern numerology, says you take the name you were given at birth.
Right.
You and I deal with adults. 9 times out of 10, whatever that original name was on the birth certificate, well, you may find it on their passport. You may find it on their social security card. You might find it on their driver's license. But over and above that, we just have a first and last name. Like in your case, Eric Taylor. In my case, Lloyd Strayhorn. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So I take the Chaldean system because it says you take the name you're most known by. So when I get my certification course in June, where I teach people how to do this and make a living doing this, I teach them both. It's like understanding English and Spanish.
Right.
So they're going to have to learn both systems.
So now, what about gematria? How do you feel about that?
I'm not strong in that area.
Okay.
But there are many things I heard about it. But I there was a book I have on gematria, and one of the founders, he had a mask on his wall. It was an African mask, but it shows whatever it is, all of this comes from Africa. But let me explain.
It all does.
Pythagoras is considered the father of numerology. But if you look at where Pythagoras studied, he went into the land of Egypt.
Yeah.
Then the logical question is, my brother, on what continent is Egypt? It's on the African continent.
Yeah, ancient Kemet. That's where they all went.
People can get upset all they want to. It's not going to change the fact of the history of the matter.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I'm not going to take anything away from anybody else, but I'm not going to take anything away from ourselves. I'm just not going to do that.
Definitely not.
That.
The reality is, and some people don't know this, but the Greeks and the Romans, they went to ancient Kemet, right? Even Socrates.
And they all came back, the father of medicine, the father of this.
Yes, they learned medicine, agriculture, math, science, all from Africa, and a lot of it from Kemet and,
And to show you about Pythagoras, the African tradition is folklore. That's how they learn. You would sit at the knees of the elders and they would tell you the history. Well, when Pythagoras was alive teaching in Egypt, the students were not allowed to write anything down. That's African tradition. Only when he died that the students began to write stuff down.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah, man. No, I love it. All right, so let's check out a couple more people. I think that they're chomping at the bit.
I'm looking at Miss Wilson. She says she's a life path 3. That means the month, the day, and the year she's born. Her name is a 4. She resonates with 3 and 33 energy. So what she's leaving out for me is the month and date of birth, because she could be in January with a 3 path, February with a 3 life path, or any of the other 10 months that are in the month. Her name is a 4, so I don't know kind of what it is. So she's kind of leaving out some information, but I will say this. 4 is the number of optimism. 3 is the number of optimism, where sometimes 4 is the number of pessimism. So it tells me that sometimes she'll be at odds with herself from time to time too, and her opportunities. Okay. I see somebody born June the 5th, 93, Queen Ash. That means that this year for them is a year where they are starting new. They're in a one personal year. So around the corner, because their birthday is in a matter of a week or so, because the first is on Saturday, I do believe. And it just tells me that this is her year where she's going to step out on faith, wants to do something new, go into a whole new phase of life, be very independent. And in this year, she will attract those under the signs of Aries, Leo, in a minor way, Aries. And also it indicates that she is going to be really doing something totally new. So if she gets a raise or promotion, anything like that.
She's ready to learn about some astrology and some numerology.
Yeah.
And welcome. I see a lot of new people here tonight, so please keep coming back. This is really a pleasure.
It got so many. You pick them. I can just joining loving this. But I'll tell people like this: there is nothing you can do without numbers. You know, when they shut down the country in March of 2020, where people couldn't go out, they had this "How long can you hold your breath?" contest. How long can you do this contest? They all had all these challenges. My challenge is what I pull out a crisp $100 bill, and I says, this money, this $100 bill is yours. It's absolutely free. But you must do one thing. You must tell me how you're going to start a day starting tomorrow, and don't use numbers from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. It's impossible.
Man.
You're going to want to know what time you got up. You're going to get a call. You're going to want to make a call. You're going to buy coffee, lunch, dinner, something. Yeah. You're going to get some gas. If you're in an elevator, you got to push the lobby or push your number. And so you can't do anything without. And you know, in the world of sports, since you were in the sports, you and I know in the world of sports, the greatest honor for an athlete is to have his or her number, jersey number, retired from the franchise. Yeah. And no matter who comes after that, they can never wear that jersey. That's
like Jackie Robinson, 42 through all the baseballs retired.
Yeah. And I think Michael Jordan, number 23. Yeah. I think he does that. And there are other Mantles, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, other people that does that too. That is an honor for them. And I tell people, if they don't believe in numbers, can you please send me your paycheck? Now, I've been waiting on that for about 20 or 30 years. Okay. So somebody believes in some kind of number.
Lloyd, you're going to get them one way or another. I know. I like that. So, okay. So I want to, in wrapping up, because, I could talk to you all night, man. So,
we got to do another one. And I got to have you on my show. I got to have you on my show. By the way, let me say this. I forgot. I have a live show every Monday and Wednesday on YouTube. It's called Numbers in You.
Yes.
But the show I do is actually live with Lloyd. And it's from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday, tomorrow, every Wednesday. Tomorrow I'm going to have 2 guys talking about meditation, the art of meditating, stilling the mind, because a lot of people are so stressed. A lot of people are on edge.
Listen, Lloyd, meditation, that's the gateway. That's the when we are introspective, right, which is a little bit more challenging, you guys, for fire and air signs, right? Earth and water is more naturally intuitive and introspective. But fire and air, more masculine energy, is more action orientated. But where they can get into meditation is in movement, going for a walk, a hike, a jog, weight, right? The earth and water, you got it. But we all need to ground, right? Tap into nature, get the Schumann resonance, right? When I was in New York, I used to love hanging out in Central Park, whatever. But you have to find, and Lloyd, I'll tell you, right? You couldn't have told me as a New York City hip hop kid that I'd be 53 years old right now hugging trees. But I am proud to say I will hug a tree, and
I'll hug a tree in a New York minute.
Okay? In a New York minute, it is good for you. And listen, for the audience, if you got two mature, serious black men telling you that it's okay to hug a tree,
but
then
see,
you all
people
know
may not
that a hug a
understand
tree.
the dynamics that all of this is nature. We wear these shoes that are covered up in plastic and whatnot. From the earth and the frequency. We're not grounded, and so it's nice to hug a tree or actually sit on some grass or take off your shoes and walk in the grass. You're connecting to the earth where we come from. You know what I'm saying?
This
is good. This is good. So I wanna thank you, but let me say this.
Yes.
Please go to my link tree.
Yes.
It's link linktr.ee/numbers and you. Sign up for the mobile app.
Yeah.
It's a freemium, which is a lot of features are free, but some of the more bells and whistles, there's a small monthly donation.
It's a beautiful app, you guys, and it's so much information. I'm gonna get it on my phone. My wife has it on her phone, but I'm like, I need it on my own phone.
And I want to teach people how to do this for a living. You can. It's not easy, but I've managed to do it, and I can save a lot of students who are sincere. See, I had no teachers. I couldn't find no teachers. I was like a guy in the wilderness. Fortunately, I was brought up in New York City, where you got tons of people. And then
we figure it out. New Yorkers, we figure it out.
It was available. I love to read. So I had all the right components. But what I'm saying is for those that are serious, because you have at least another asset under your belt. So in case you're terminated or laid off, you can generate your own way of making your own income. And I will show you how. All they got to do is go to star8llc@gmail.com, leave their name, they're interested. My assistant will send out a thing to see if you qualify, because everybody's not going to get it. I want to keep it small.
Yeah,
I really want to keep it small so I can give you everybody my undivided
attention. But it's beautiful you're offering that for people, and I want you guys to all reach out to Lloyd and watch the podcast, and hopefully soon I'll be on there too.
No, you're going to be on there. You're going to be in there within the next month. I'm telling you straight up.
That sounds good.
You're going to be on there within the next month.
Wait, I got to leave you with this though.
Yes.
And I didn't start off the show with it today just because I wanted to get right into it. But do you know, it's almost like this is a full circle moment, because I recorded 2 albums. First one was titled Hip Hop Forever. The second one is Truth Speaker. But I have a song on there called Numbers. And I said,
really?
Numbers have power, and then I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you use the numbers to help you thrive. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Numbers have power, so let's get it done. And
you gotta send me the link to that one, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you, because Numbers is a song that I wrote, and I go through the numerology of my life in the rhyme. Like I was born on 9/10. My father was murdered.
You might come on there sooner than later.
Yeah, I will send it to you, but it's really deep. And so it's so funny because, I wrote this years ago, and I think about this full circle moment with you and just where I'm at in my life and my business and career. And I think about that song Numbers, and it's just like, wow, that's deep.
Well, you know what? I think after this, between you and I, we're going to have a private session. Let me teach you some numerology. You'll be smoking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because I only know like un poquito.
Yo, I know mucho.
I know mucho. Oh, Lloyd, this was a pleasure. Everybody, thank you so much.
I'm so honored, Eric. Thank you. This is great. This is great.
Thank you. Make sure you follow his podcast, please, on YouTube, Numbers and You. Also, check out the website, sign up with his newsletter, his link tree, and sign up for his numerology classes. You can't go wrong. Learn from Lloyd. That should just be like the mantra. Right?
Because and I'm on TikTok too for people. It's this.
Yeah.
TikTok on the Numbers and You.
I got on there too, man. But I can't. I don't know. I'm not doing no dances or nothing, Lloyd.
No, I'm not either. My kids talked me into it, but it was a good move. I must admit.
I'm sure. I see you on
it's
TikTok,
really
and
nice.
I watch your videos on TikTok. I prefer to watch you on Instagram, though. That's where I watch a lot of your videos.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it because it's so informative. And you know what? You'll talk about a subject that's like coming up in my life, like whenever you're talking about it, or like you'll say something about the number 9, because I have my oldest son. You know, he's a Virgo born on September 9th, 1999. So I'll send him information sometimes, you know, because he's like, I don't know, Dad, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get you with this
Yeah,
video.
see, you just dead. See, you just you just dead.
No, exactly. Sometimes
I'm gonna do
it's
that.
hard to get the friends and family to see you in the light that who you are.
Yeah.
But that's all good.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for coming and
Thank
watching
you.
this
Thank you,
tonight.
everybody.
It was really amazing. Lloyd, you are truly worth the price
So
of admission.
you are going to
and
be
a true
on sooner
legend,
than
man.
later, somewhere around June or July at the latest.
I
want
would
your
love to.
audience to come on and give support to you too. I really do.
I would love it. I would be honored.
Okay.
So everybody, thank you for watching this amazing episode.
Thank you.
Mr. Lloyd Strayhorn, episode 210, Knowledge is Love Astrology Podcast. And remember those numbers. They have power. They're very
Can't do
important.
without them. Can't do without them. I challenge anybody.
See,
Can't do without them.
You heard it from Lloyd. All right?
Yeah. And I'll sign up with this, as I tell people, suppose you met the most beautiful woman or the most handsome guy on the planet, and you wanted to know their number, and they tell you call any number. But if you dial the right 10 numbers in the right order, you get the right person you want to talk to. That's all.
Now you're hitting them in the stomach with that one, Lloyd.
It's true.
Oh, numbers do have power.
Yes, they do. More than people imagine.
All right. Thank you.